from Santa Cruz. Welcome back to our show, Go Ahead and Tell Me. I'm Denise Lane and my partner is Susan Douglas. Today's episode is all about the power of stories and the way theater brings people together. Joining us today is Charles Pasternak, Artistic Director of Santa Cruz Shakespeare. Charles leads with curiosity, care, and a deep belief that theater should be inclusive, alive, and deeply connected to the community it serves.
Welcome, Charles. Lovely to
Thank
see
you.
you again.
Yeah,
It's been, a lot of performances since we've last seen you, and we've caught a couple of them. Uh,
good.
well, my last one was the Charles Dickens, which was fabulous. Oh, it
Thank you.
was so well done.
Yeah, we saw a couple. We were lucky to see a couple of them this summer in
Good.
the Grove, and it was really great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had a really beautiful season. I'm incredibly proud of it. For the second year in a row, we sort of smashed our old ticket sales records, and of course, I'm proud of that in terms of what it means for the company. I'm proud of the fact that we are bucking the sort of theatrical trend, that we are growing and that we are increasing our, patronage, ticket sales, availability of shows. I'm also incredibly, deeply proud of the work. I think
Yeah.
the work we did this year was pretty magnificent. We did. I directed a Pericles, a rarely done Shakespeare. We did
Saw
our
that.
first mu
Yeah,
Yeah,
We saw
yeah.
that. It was
yeah, it was
great.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that play. I think we honored it. I think for an audience, a play that's so rarely done, some audience members may only get one or two chances to see it, and if they see a bad production, that's what's going to live with them. So, another production might not come along and change their minds. So, I'm really proud of that. I'm proud that we did our first musical in 35 years with Into the
Oh,
Woods,
right.
and
Saw that
you
too.
know. Yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, I was so proud of them, and threading the needle, filling a space with artists who had the voices to do the musical, but that were good enough, actors and classical actors to be able to rep into Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And then a wonderful production of Midsummer directed by our sort of longtime stalwart Paul Mullins. And then an amazing, deeply, deeply moving production of Master Harold and the Boys,
Mm,
which I'm so proud of and which I think
mm,
everybody who saw, I really think it changed them. And our
mm.
education director, Rebecca Haley Clark, did an incredible job directing it. It was her main stage directing debut. She's been directing our intern and apprentice shows for years
Okay.
Mm.
and sort of graduated up to that. And then our Carol, which the big test for Carol was what happens year two, right? Like we plan on doing this every year, or at least for a while, as a
Right.
sort of tradition. But year one it premieres,
Mhm.
and year three, you've sort of established a tradition. But year two is sort of like, well, if I saw it last year, do I see it again? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to make sure the community understands that it's going to be a new show every year. There will be a core elements that
Oh.
carry forward.
Still got the story. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh.
anyway, but it ended up being a wonderful success, both financially and artistically. And one of my favorite moments of the year was our closing night. Just a few minutes to showtime, I hear this huge electrical pop down the block.
Oh,
All
no.
the lights go out in
Oh,
downtown. I didn't know it at the time, but as soon as the lights went out inside the theater, an audience member started singing Silent Night, and the whole theater joined in.
Oh,
how
wow.
lovely.
That's
And
so
I go rushing in. I check if we have a generator. We don't. I check if most of the audience is already in there. They are. So I run in and I'm moving on my feet. I can't leave them for long because I don't want them to start trickling out. So I get my phone light on me and I run up on the stage and everybody cheers. And I said, well, clearly the power's out. I don't know what we're going to do, but we are going to do a show for you.
Yeah.
And they cheer and I go running upstairs to talk to the actors. And I say, so what do we do? And they say, well, we can't do all the costume changes or the scenic movement in the dark. It'd be dangerous. I said, okay, so we're going to do a reading. Okay,
Right.
we'll do a reading. We'll bring on these beautiful electric candles that we usually enter with, and I run up to the stage. The cast joins me in this semicircle, and I say, "So we're going to do this as a reading." And they start. And what's magical is First of all, I know we all know what the sort of silence of a theater is, but the silence of a place without power, the
Mm,
silence of no ambient noise. I
right.
Mm.
mean, we use the phrase you could hear a pin drop all the time, but in this case, you really, really could. I mean, and
Mm.
people know, I mean, this was Christmas Eve. It's
Yeah.
our closing show. It's like seven
Yeah.
o'clock at night. Everybody is wrapped and leaning forward, and the songs
Um,
sound so beautiful. And as it goes, it starts as just this sort of stand-up, sit-down thing. But as it goes, the actors start improvising and creating staging that they can, down in this sort of small area of the stage and doing things with the flashlights that were sort of keeping on everybody. And it was just one of the most magical nights of theater I have ever experienced. The audience
uh,
leapt to their feet at the end. And I think we might, for year three, we might reconstruct that for our closing evening Christmas Eve show. We might do
uh,
a candle lit sort of reading
Yeah.
to
have your
honor that.
actors improvise some more, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
So
it was
awesome.
it was just it was incredible. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
And what a way to end the year, and in a
Yeah.
way a beautiful metaphor for the theater period, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The show goes on
The
regardless.
show must go on. Yeah, the
Uh,
show must go on.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of them,
Mm,
our artists,
yeah.
who carry everything for us. We're a company focused theater. We're a repertory focused theater. We're a theater that focuses on playwrights of language. I take great pride in these things. I know our audience does. And even though the actors get applause at the end of every show, we're a really actor forward theater. And that moment with Carol really, really shone a beautiful focused candle on
Yeah.
on how much they carry for us. That it just takes the words of a great playwright and the voices of these beautiful actors, and will tell a great story. So that was our 2025 in a nutshell, and it was fabulous. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah. Well, the supportive community here is
Yes.
Yeah.
very strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
It,
talking about Carol, I remember,
Yeah.
the closing of Carol the night I was there, where the light stayed on,
yeah.
and but it was everybody was on their feet singing with the
Yeah.
performance. It was lovely, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, this community is incredible. The fact that we live in a town this size, we're bigger than a small town, but we're not quite a city, or maybe we officially are. I actually don't know what the designation is, but we're not a city like of the size of San Jose or San Francisco or something. And the fact that we have a symphony and Santa Cruz Shakespeare, and for so long had the blessing of the Jewel, and the Cabrillo Music Festival, and the Cabrillo Musical Theater, and the Mall. I mean, I'm just listing these off the top of my head.
The opera
The
project.
Santa Cruz Opera Project, which I
Yeah.
both love, and
Awesome.
Lori and Jordan. I'm actually getting drinks with them tonight to talk about what maybe we could all do together.
They're awesome. They're
Um,
so
they're,
awesome.
They,
They're
they
they're
just,
on
amazing.
our
yeah.
show.
Well, next
Yeah.
time they are, to tell them I send my love. They're
Yeah.
they're amazing,
They
and
are.
they were both in our Into the Woods this year, and I'm very interested in how we can sort of get them up to the Grove. We're going to talk about that tonight. So,
You better get them before they get their operas happening.
well, no. I mean, both maybe as actors, but also maybe we can. We're doing last year. We started this amazing thing called Monday Night Revels, where we started booking in other acts to come in on Monday nights, which are normally dark. And it was a wonderful first year. And this year, we're only going to expand it and build it so that Monday nights, bands, comedians, musicians, last year a big hit was this Shakespeare themed drag show. And we're going to bring those in again on Monday nights. We're going to expand it. And then in September, we're also going to do some Tuesday night revels that we're sort of targeting as community revels, where it's not the same as us booking in an outside act, but working hopefully collaboratively with local artists and institutions, and finding a different way, a box office split instead of a booking contract or something like that. And just there's only a few of them, and make them sort of community revels. So I mean, we're nowhere near the point where we're ready to announce who those are. Although actually, I say we're not near. Within the next month or month and a half, we should know. But that's something like that
Yeah.
would be very exciting with the opera project, whether it's this year or in future. But you know, we have this gorgeous space, and we have time in it to share with our community, this incredible community that supports all of these arts. I mean, that's to come back to it. That's what we're doing, right? This incredible community supports all of these arts institutions. And the
Yeah.
fact that a community this size can do that and can do it over and over again, and in the history of Santa Cruz Shakespeare, has showed up and with money saved this company at various times in the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and now has built it into a company that's bigger than it ever has been. Um,
So cool.
and yeah, it's sort of this community is a miracle, and I believe they will continue to show up. But
Oh, yeah. There's no
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
We love great performances, and the Shakespeare Company is really, you're fabulous.
thank you.
I remember last year you told us that you wanted to be world class, and I was at Broadway last year, and I feel like it's comparable. I mean, it's really high quality acting and singing and performing. It's really
in
amazing.
costume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
thank you.
the costumes
Yeah.
were wild in some of them.
Thank you. Well, no, I believe passionately that we have a world-class company that could stand up to, Broadway is sort of a separate commercial thing, but I would hold it up against Broadway, but I'd also hold it up against any other regional theater or classical theater. We're bringing in incredible artists, and we're doing it on a model that most theaters in this country were founded on and have since abandoned, which is a repertory company model. We do multiple shows with a single company, and Shakespeare's our backbone. I mean, this model is what built so many theaters in this country. How many theaters in this country have the name repertory in their name,
Right. Yeah.
but haven't worked in repertory in years?
Mm.
But I believe passionately in this model, and I think our audience loves this model. And I think more audiences in this country love this model. I think a lot of theaters have suffered from moving away from it.
Can you define that for our audience? Can you define
Yeah. Yeah. So a repertory model is when we have one company of actors. In our case, I think this year it'll be 21 actors. Maybe I'm off by one or two. And of our 3 summer shows, all of them are in 2 of them. So they are rehearsing and performing at the same time in 2 shows. And then we have 2 fall shows. Really, they start in late summer, but they run into fall. But it's just an easier distinction. 2 fall shows that don't open until the summer has closed. But those actors in those shows are in the main company, and they're rehearsing those shows once the other shows are open. So for the actors, they get longer contracts. They get to work in 2 to 3 to 4 shows. Artistically, it's so rewarding. For me as an actor, it was always my favorite process. And for us, we get a season of multiple shows with this incredible company. Our audience gets to see multiple things and fall in love with actors doing this role or that role. And I think a lot of companies have moved away from this model because it takes more planning and it's less egocentric for artistic directors and the people choosing the shows. I can't just choose whatever I want. It isn't my job in the end to choose the plays, but I have to choose a season knowing that one company is going to do all these shows. I can't bring in one group of actors to do the necessary specifics for one show and one group of actors to do the necessary specifics for another. If I'm going to hire the actors for one show, they have to work in one of the other shows.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot more planning
Yeah.
and to some degree a lot less ego. I don't just get to do whatever I want. I need to think of my company as I plan the season.
It's intense for the actors too.
Yeah.
And have you experienced anybody saying, hands up, can't do it, gotta go?
No. Although I do think there are actors where this is not the model of their ideal way of working, and I do know that especially for our musical actors and those incredible ensemble that did Into the Woods for us this year. Really, I mean, they worked hard. They had more shows than anybody, and they were all in A Midsummer Night's Dream as well, so they were doing those shows as well. And in terms of just maintaining their voices, in terms of taking care of their voices in the way that singers have to do in a more specific way than most actors, I would say, that could be a strain. And there are actors who probably rep isn't for them. Here's another thing. We need, it's like this. It's true that it's not a model that all actors love, but the actors I love generally are the kind of actors that love this work. We need athletes, this is an Olympian thing. These are not actors that, these are not people of low resilience or people that are going to call out,
Energy, yeah.
because they're, this takes toughness. This
Yeah.
takes a quality. When I grew up in the theater. I was a teenager growing up with mentors around me. I had a very sort of old school education. And those actors would have to be on a gurney to miss a show.
Yeah.
And attitudes towards this kind of thing have changed in recent years a bit, and to some small degree for the better, but I'd say in some degrees not. There's a pride in resilience. There's a pride in always showing up. There's a pride in making it work.
Mm.
And maybe we've in a healthy way adjusted that pendulum a little. If somebody's really under the weather, we tell them not to come to rehearsal. We try to balance it a bit more than maybe once was in a healthy way, but we need athletes here. We need tough. It takes resilience to be a part of a rep like this,
Yeah.
and the actors we have that.
Yeah, and not a lot of space for prima donna, I would think.
No, no, there's not. You can't be, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on your show, but you can't be good. Yeah, I'll be careful. You cannot be good enough to be a jerk. You
Right.
can't. And I'm not talking, I mean, look, everybody has a bad day, and sometimes one artist is not going to get along with another. And, I'm not saying everybody has to be perky and happy all the time. Sometimes you don't like somebody, but I expect you to be a professional.
Right.
And no, nobody can be good enough to be a diva too much. An occasional moment it happens. But
Right.
but yeah, I need people that are really invested in working with each other and
Yeah.
getting along with each other as best they can. And that it's absolutely necessary for a company like this.
Yeah.
Egos. There's such a thing as a healthy ego, of course, and I think anybody that really wants to be an actor sort of needs a little piece of healthy ego because the odds are against you no matter how talented you are. But a healthy degree of humility in the face of the collective goal, the collaborative goal
Right.
of making art is
Yeah.
absolutely necessary.
Yeah. So it's the same
Yeah.
cast traveling through to this year to 26 with you.
Well, many of them. So yeah, let me talk about 26. So 26 is really exciting. The first exciting thing, and you are the first public place I'm announcing this, is that we're adding a spring show because our endeavor is to continue expanding into year-round programming. And in the summer and fall, we have the Grove. So in the winter and spring, we have to crack the nut of where we perform because this community, for all its wonderful art, actually has very few performance spaces in this way.
Right.
So in late April and early May, I'm going to do a one-man show called Vincent about Vincent van Gogh. It's going to go up at the Veterans Memorial Building where we do Carol. It is a gorgeous play, 90 minutes, no intermission, about Theo van Gogh and Vincent van Gogh, his brother. And it's after Vincent's death and Theo remembering his brother and the letters he and his brother exchanged. And at various points, I take on the role of Vincent in the show as well.
Oh, right.
And it includes Vincent's art and some beautiful music. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous play.
His
Cannot
art?
wait. What's that?
It includes his art.
Yes, there's projections in the show. I
Oh,
mean,
right.
as Teo goes through the show, he also goes through his history. He takes us through some of his art. I
Oh,
mean,
how
and one of
cool.
the most, I won't give it away, but one of the most moving moments in the play is a late moment of music and projection where we really see Vincent's late period.
Oh,
And
lovely.
Anyway, it's incredible. I think tickets go, I mean, today's th Wednesday. I think tickets go on sale this Friday, which is the 9th. We'll be doing a lot of announcements for January 9th via,
Okay. And
you
what
know,
date again?
uh, it it's the last Friday of April. We do an opening press night, and then the first 2 weekends of May. And
Mhm.
the final Friday of April will be a part of this new arts festival coming to town called the Ripple Effect Festival, which is trying to sort of connect various artistic institutions and just sort of helping spread the word about art being put up during that time, during those sort of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we return to our traditional summer season. We open with Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, one of his great comedies. We continue with Shakespeare's Macbeth, one of his great tragedies. And then for the first time ever, we're producing August Wilson on our stage with his Fences. So that'll be the three-show summer rep. I'm incredibly excited for it. Our fall rep, and that's a new thing. For the last 2 years, we've done a single fall show. This year, we're doing two fall shows in repertory. We're going to do Noel Coward's Private Lives, which I will star in. And
Ah,
we're going to do Jason Roberts Brown's beautiful two-hander musical, The Last 5 Years, And those sort of five shows fall under our sort of season theme of Till Death Do Us Part. They're all about primary couples and how the world is changed by the strength or lack thereof in the relationship. And now, of course, all five of these great plays are about other things too. But I seek for a sort of unifying theme.
Yeah, it's
And
wondering what
so
your theme was going to be because last year it was No One Is Alone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so the theme this year is Till Death Do Us Part. And tickets go on sale to members between March and April, and then go on sale to the general public May 1st. And then coming back in December is Christmas Carol, starring Mike Ryan as Ebenezer Scrooge. And we'll be back again. It will continue to evolve, to change. We're thinking about adding more live music next year. We'll certainly mix up the carols, maybe adjust, change a few scenes. The evolution continues. And we have ideas, but I mean, that's the furthest one away. But one thing we are going to do this year, which we didn't last year, and we think it was a mistake, was carol tickets will go on sale alongside the summer and fall tickets so people can book them when they book everything, if they choose to. Last year, we held it off till later. And just based on our model and the way that some people come in and buy all their tickets at once, we want to make sure that Carol is available as part of that as well. So that's our 2026 sort of main season. And then, I'm happy to talk about other incredible things. Our In Schools tour continues, both our bilingual Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah.
and we're adding a small Tempest this year.
Yeah.
All this info is on our website, santacruzshakespeare.org. Those in-school shows are so vital. We hit every Bay Area county last season, and we're going to do it again. We're going to exceed it this year. These incredible actors get in our beautiful van and go all over Northern California, and they'll go further too. And we have more classes and camps coming this year, including an expansion of our summer camps, which
Yeah.
have been a big hit for us.
You have specific age groups, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, all this can be found online, but there is we're adding camps this year. I don't know if these are up yet, but we're adding camps for younger kids this year. And then there's both middle school and high school camps. Some of them combine at various levels of the age groups, but but we're also expanding the sort of summer intensive. So there will be two camps that have opportunities to perform on the Grove stage as sort of a final showcase instead of one.
Yeah.
And people can sign up for both. You can, your kids can do both, or if your schedule is more complicated, they can just do one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just want to talk about ticketing and pricing a moment because
sure.
when you went to people can buy all their tickets at once. I mean, what levels do you have for pricing? And because in this age we're in, that
Yeah,
money is a little tight for some people, and yet they still love the art. So
of course.
kind of strategy that you or for
Tiers. Well, they had tiers last year. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm just wondering.
It's a great question. My baseline is that if anybody wants to see one of our shows, they can see one. First of all, there's you can volunteer as an usher and see a show absolutely for free.
Okay.
Secondly, there are I believe they're $25 rush tickets. Maybe that's 20, maybe that's 30, maybe it changes per show. Don't fully quote me on that, but $20 to $30 range. There are rush tickets to every performance. If you show up, you ask for a rush ticket, you'll get a seat available.
What is a rush ticket?
Oh, a rush ticket in the theater, for anybody that doesn't know, is when you show up and just walk to the box office ahead of the show and you ask for a rush ticket. Now, the danger is if the show is sold out, you won't get to see it. But there's almost never shows that there is literally not a seat. Even shows that are sold out, some people don't show. I would say there's almost never a danger that you're literally going to get turned away. Now, what seat that is entirely up to how the show is selling. There are some low selling shows where maybe you'll get a great seat for that. There are some, most of our shows sell pretty well, so you may be sitting further in the back, but I take pride in how good our shows are from every seat in our house.
Yeah.
So those options, volunteering to usher and getting to see the show for free,
Yeah.
or our rush tickets. Make sure that anybody at any level that wants to see the show can see the show.
Mhm.
Now, unlike many, many theaters, we haven't raised ticket prices since before the pandemic. I mean, we haven't touched our prices in ages. Things may be inching up a little in the coming year or in the coming years, but even still, there is not going to be any $100 tickets. You know what I mean? There are levels. So those front two rows of the benches, those are our most expensive. That's our highest tier. Um, but there are many other tiers. There is Premium Plus and there's Premium. So those are two higher level tiers. And then there's our sort of classic level, um, which is our mid-range. And then we have reduced price tickets further in the back. And we have our groundling tickets, which aren't cheap. I think they go for $40.
Mhm.
And that's not nothing, but but for many people, I don't think that's backbreaking.
Right.
Um, and so I take pride in the accessibility of our theater. I take pride in the number of young people at our theater. I take pride in the variation in our community that shows up. I mean, again, seeing a show at the Grove, you're part of an event. It's not just the play, although the play is the core.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's the picnic area. We have the best view overlooking Monterey Bay in the city. There's our gorgeous picnic area. We've launched a wonderful food and beverage service that's all our own last year. There's gorgeous grounds to walk around. You can bring your wine into the theater and enjoy it while you watch. It is
Very,
not a stuffy experience. It is
yeah.
really an
Oh,
event. And I think what people will pay for dinner in a movie or people will pay to go to the boardwalk, if you're dropping $40 on a ticket for an event like that, that's not expensive compared to what a lot of outings these days cost.
yeah,
That's very reasonable.
yeah.
Yeah.
And groundling, what is that the people sat at the front?
Yeah, that's the people who sit in the dirt at the front. And so, well, it's not the dirt; it's sort of this wood chip mulch we use. What it's a throwback to our old days on the university, where essentially more than half the seats were groundling seats, and there was an area where you could set up chairs and an area up front where you had to just sit on. You could lay down a blanket, but you just had to sit on the ground.
Yeah.
And we don't have nearly as many of those seats at the Grove. And I will also say the Grove is much more comfortable than the Glen ever was. I loved the Glen, but the Grove is much more comfortable to sit in. But we've kept these groundling areas as a throwback to our history because some people truly love them. And they are some of the best seats in the house for the price. You just have to be comfortable sitting on the ground.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
and
yeah.
some people aren't, and I get that. But if you're comfortable sitting on the ground, for the price, they're the best seats in the house.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And let's not forget the wonderful aroma of the cypress trees around.
yeah, yeah.
I
We
love
have these towering, gorgeous eucalyptus trees all around the stage. Now they're invasive and they're fire danger. So part of our job as stewards of the land is to slowly clear the space of eucalyptus trees. However, some of these towering ones around the stage I don't think we'll ever touch. But in the general area, we need to be aware of them. And in so doing, we have planted over 100 redwoods in the Grove in our going on 10 years there. The earliest ones planted are already huge. I mean, not huge as in huge to what a redwood can truly get, but I mean huge for if you look at them and you're like they're only 10 years old.
Yeah,
It's shocking how big they are.
yeah.
And we've planted them all over the Grove and will continue to. So we take our job as stewards of the land and really, really seriously and do a ton of work every week. Besides that, we have Saturday volunteer days, but besides that, we have incredible people, especially Rick Wright and Chris Frost, two members of our board that essentially are the site committee and are up there, just working hard for free and taking care of the place as best they can. And we have, I guess this is a good push for anybody that wants to volunteer with us. Check out our website. We need our volunteers. Those Saturday volunteer days are wonderful experiences outside in the Grove, few hours, any skill level. If you work a full day, you get a comp ticket to the season. It's a pretty wonderful way, and you feel ownership. You really get to start feeling ownership of the space because you helped make it.
What kind of jobs are you are involved? What volunteers?
Any for on our, on our Saturday days, which officially we're doing some work in our building, our new building right now. That's something I should mention. We built a 1.8 million. We raised the money and built a new building up there that includes our administrative offices, our dressing rooms, our storage facility, our loading dock, and for our workshops and production housing. It's amazing. It's an amazing feat. And so right now we're doing some work in the building, but come February, March, we start doing days in the Grove because we have to winterize the space every year. So we have to pull up the tarps and set up the seats and lay out the wood chips. I mean, there is endless work. And there are some days during that period where we need every hand on deck. Some people can just take a rake and lightly do some of that work. There's work for people sitting down. Come that time, there's work for if you're a functioning human being, there's work for you. We'll find it. So anyway, I should be pushing that maybe later in the year, but it's not too far. It's January now. It'll come up soon. So
Yeah, we know it. You'll have your seasons, Jans. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, what do you think will be the biggest challenge of this coming year?
Ooh, great question. Well, I mean, always, I've said this before. I always want to do something each year that scares me here. I think we need to continue to challenge ourselves. And this year, like many years, I have multiple answers to that question. Doing Vincent scares me. It'll be our first spring show. It'll be a one-man show. Do our audience show up? Do they buy the tickets? Are they interested?
Think.
Obviously, I think they
I
will
don't.
be. I'm rolling the dice on it.
Yeah.
But it'll be our first August Wilson. I'm not scared of that so much as I have respect for it in the sense of I want to do an honorable job. I want to, it's our first time adding that great playwright's voice to the discussion with Shakespeare. And I take the task very seriously. So I want to make sure we honor Mr. Wilson. And we're doing a fall rep for the first time, and I'm going to be in it. So I hope this schedule works out. I hope, we have one director, Laura Gordon, fabulous. She's done many shows for us in the past. She's going to come in and direct both fall shows.
Okay.
So I like that scheduling. She can pick whether she wants to look at Private Lives or Last 5 Years at any different portion of the day in rehearsal. So I think that'll be tough. It'll be new.
Yeah.
So those are scary things. So they may be tough things, but we must challenge ourselves every year. We
Oh,
must. Stagnancy is death. Now, sometimes something won't work, and we'll have to say, well, okay, so why didn't it work? What can we do better?
mm,
Was this a bad idea in the first place, or did we just do something wrong? And I believe as long as we risk in a fiscally responsible way, so that, if, for instance, Vincent is
mm,
going to cost very little. So I don't think it's going to lose us money,
mm.
but will it sell enough tickets to justify a show like this in the future? That's the question, right? So
Find out.
um, yeah, so we'll find out in a relatively in a responsible way, in a way that's not going to damage the company if it fails, or at least if it fails financially. But of course, I don't think it will. But we're being careful in how we do it. August Wilson, I think it will sell. I think it'll sell well, but it's going to rep with two popular Shakespeares. So we have some coverage there, and we're risking by doing so many more fall shows. It's 25 performances between Private Lives and Last 5 Years, which is 10 more than we've done on our last 2 years. But
Mm.
there are two of them, right? So if one of them struggles a little, but the other does well, we have a little balance, we have a little coverage. And of course, our hope is they both do well. So always sort of keeping an eye out for healthy ways to protect ourselves while we risk, while we roll the dice.
Yeah,
So
get that.
yeah.
Yeah. So you have the directors, different directors coming in, and they don't always take the traditional approach, do they? They want to kind of bring some new energy, some new idea to the actual production, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Would that be
You
correct?
know, you're correct. Now, on the scale of festivals like ours, I'd say we're in the middle somewhere. We're not so conservative that every show needs to be either set in Shakespeare's time or set in the time of the play in a sort of traditional idea of that. I'm also very careful. I want to make sure that my directors are coming in with really exciting ideas about their setting,
Yeah.
about how the show looks, sounds, moves, but I'm not looking for directorial concepts. And
Ah,
if a director comes in with a concept for a play that I feel is more about their concept than about the play itself, I won't let them do it.
mhm.
And if that's the only way they want to do the play, then I won't hire them. We are the core, the backbone of our company are the language of the great playwrights and honoring their what we hope to understand of as their intent and to highlight it through the lens of our individual artists. So a director, no two directors are going to direct a show the same way. And I don't want to be too conservative in stopping a director from following a sort of real instinct towards a play, as long as I believe that they're finding it in the play and not that they're trying to bring it to the play or
Mm,
apologizing,
mm,
worst of all, apologizing for the play
mm.
by changing things up. Shakespeare's plays are filled with ambiguity. They should be. That's part of what makes them great. We're not a culture that feels very comfortable with ambiguity. We like black and white, right or wrong, good or evil. We like answers, and Shakespeare's plays really ask questions. And
Mhm.
so when a director comes in and tries to simplify too much, my hackles come up. I get a yellow flag over it. It's like I trust and want to challenge our audience. Now, of course, that doesn't mean I don't want it to be thrilling and funny and enjoyable and wonderful but I trust the work we do. I
Yeah.
trust how good our artists are to make it clear, and I trust Shakespeare. And sadly, I think some theaters in this country, especially some Shakespeare theaters in this country, have started not trusting Shakespeare. And I think it's damaged them and their audiences. So, yes, no two productions are going to be the same. And I want my directors to set it in exciting places. And I want everybody to look good or cool. I want people, I want to thrill with how our incredible company sounds. I don't want it to be stuffy or stingy or any of that.
Right.
But I am careful about conceptual designs.
So when do you start casting? Um, for the new people that you must have some coming in.
Yeah, of course. No, casting has started.
Oh,
I'd say by the end of January, by the end of this month, I'll know, I'll be locked on all of our returning people. And then I go on an audition tour in February. I go to I go to Los Angeles and many cities around there, San Diego, up and down the coast,
mm.
auditioning both students and professionals. And I'll watch over 1,500 audition videos and it's an intense time. Oh no, it's
A
crazy.
lot.
And and just to give you a sense of scope, I think for the company, I think all of those auditions, I'm seeking somewhere in the range of 5 to 7 actors.
Wow.
Maybe it's 8, but that includes 3 apprentice actors who are either students or recent students. Now they get paid here and they're professional as well. There's a different scale. That I'm including 3 apprentices in that number. So I'll watch over 1,500 audition videos. I will probably audition easily at least 500, if not more, people live.
Mm.
And so that let's say over 2,000 for
Oh,
for
That's
for
quite
for
the
five
front.
for 5 or 6 parts.
yeah,
You
there's
know,
That's
well,
that's
what
the
that's
world.
why, yeah, well, that's another reason why you have such a good company. I
yeah,
mean,
because
they're
yeah,
fabulous.
Well, thank you.
that's
Thank
right.
you. And I will say, there are I did this for 20 years. I grinded out a professional career as an actor in the stage. There are so many talented actors out there. There's just not enough parts. And auditioning, unfortunately, is a terrible way to find out if an actor is going to work well with your company. You might get a sense of whether they have of what their training is and whether they have some talent, but you don't get any sense of how they work with others. You don't get any sense of was that audition as good as it gets with this person, or do they really bring more in the process? And so not only do I believe in company, but bringing back in many of the artists I know and love and have worked with before is core to how good this company stays because I know I can trust them. I
Mm.
know how good they are. I know how well they work with others. There are many, many other artists out there that can do that too. It's a really hard thing to find. And so I think for me, a healthy company has new blood every year. We're bringing in new people every year, but it's always a test. And we're always seeing, do you work well? Would you, and I can tell you without naming any names, there were a few people last year, 2 or 3 people last year nobody was terrible. We had really lovely people, but maybe one or two actors last year where I'm like, I don't think you sort of work with a company like this. You know, I don't know that your attitude works with a company like this. But there were another handful of new actors that were wonderful. And it's like I would work with them again in a heartbeat. So you don't know until they're in the room. It shocks me how many theaters hire so many shows of entirely new people. And it's like you don't know. You can't know. It doesn't matter how many auditions you go through. You can't know until you've worked with somebody once.
Yeah.
You can't get references. Can't
We
get
do. I call other directors I know. I mean, I do get references. I do all my due diligence.
Yeah.
And you can get closer, but you can't actually know until you know. You know, I have had a negative experience or two with actors I had good references from, for.
Yeah,
Again, they help,
Mhm.
but it's not, yeah, there's no guarantees.
It's the resilience too, because as you spoke,
Yes, yes. There are
everyone
some,
at the same time.
totally. And that's a wonderful point. Wonderful point that our season is tough.
Yeah,
I think it is artistically thrilling. And for the actors that love rep, there's nothing better. And I include myself in that. But there are some actors who, you know, maybe some of what I'm talking about, you're making a good point, may come down the line later in the season. They've been they're tired. They're not used to working this way. They're not used to this in any shows. Working outside brings its own sort of struggle for some people. So maybe just working at a place like this is also just sort of not right for some actors.
Mhm.
although the trees do emit some wonderful, what is it? Denise's husband is into this forest bathing, where the
Yeah.
trees are given off this support.
Wow, I've never heard of this.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Well, they give off ions and wonderful energy, and yeah,
Uh-huh.
particularly
Great.
particularly redwoods.
Wow.
yeah. But I think
Yeah.
they all do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to a degree. Yeah,
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. No, I haven't heard of that, but you know, it makes sense to me. I think we feel an element of we feel something, whether it's peace or calm or whatever, we feel something important when we're out in nature and surrounded by trees. So great. Yeah. Yeah. And the Grove is a gorgeous place to come and spend some time like that.
yes. So how do you, for 26, how do you want your audience to feel when they've seen the performance and they're leaving? How do you want them to feel?
Well, I always want them to, I want them to engage with the work. You know, I say before every show, please lean forward. I think the idea of sit back and relax for theater is a terrible thing. You have to you have to join us in the storytelling, and that takes a little work. I want our audience to lean forward, engage, choose to be a part of this story. Shakespeare breaks the fourth wall all the time. Lean forward with us, be a part of the act of theater doesn't exist without an audience. A film can play in a movie theater with nobody out there, but doing a show for nobody in an audience is literally ridiculous. There is no
Rushing for a start.
there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
They are the last member of our ensemble. And so I want our audience walking out excited, engaged, angry, confused, not confused because they didn't understand something, but grappling with the questions of the play. We have a great audience here, and we've built it with them, this company with them. So they are sharp. I think lazy thinkers will struggle with some of our work, but we have a really sharp audience that has been coming to us for years that likes to be challenged and engaged. And again, I use words like this. I want them to have an incredibly pleasurable experience in the theater too. And I think we succeed in our shows delivering that. But I want them walking out really sort of fired up, really turned on,
Yeah.
emotionally, intellectually. I don't want them ideally, they're not walking out yawning. Ideally, they're not walking out sort of like tired and ready to sort of drive home and fall into bed. I want our shows to wake them up. I want to be exciting in a way that I know theater can be exciting, but I also don't think many theaters are that exciting these days. But that's how I want them to feel, is sort of awake, turned on, engaged, by the work, even if maybe they didn't like it, even if it wasn't their favorite.
Well, I know people that come to your shows and they do a lot of research beforehand.
Yes.
Just so that they're going to be able to understand the play, because as you
And
said,
I hope,
Shakespeare
yeah.
is complex.
It is. It is. I mean, expertise breeds love. I always repeat this. Expertise breeds love. The more you know about something, the more you geek out on it, the more you get excited about it, the more you know about it, the more you're going to enjoy it because
Yeah.
the higher levels you can engage with it. We do, maybe I should plug this. We do these online book clubs.
Uh-huh.
Next month we're doing Much Ado in February.
Okay.
I lead that one like a director with my actors. And if you sign up, you're either a participant where you play a few various parts over a few weeks, or you're just an auditor and you just watch.
Right.
And then in April, we're doing Macbeth, which Rebecca, my education director who directed Master Harold last year, is going to direct. And part of this experience is hopefully for our audience to gain expertise, to get a behind the scenes look at the shows. The more you know about these plays, the more they're going to turn you on. The more you're going to get excited. You get to walk into the theater going, okay, well, I wonder what they're going to do with this. If
Yeah.
you don't know the play well, you're walking in hoping you'll understand. And if that's you, I hope you do look at a synopsis or a breakdown or just some Wikipedia. I mean, it's all out there. These are famous plays.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of prep so you can so after the first 5 or 10 minutes, as your ear gets used to the language, then you can enjoy it because you're not worried about missing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
anybody that dives deeper, the pleasures of Shakespeare and of these great authors are fathomless. They are bottomless. They will keep rewarding you. The more you learn about them, the more you get excited by them, the more they will reward you. And that's, I think, why we keep coming back to Shakespeare and these great playwrights, because you don't run out of that reward. And so, yeah, I think our audience does the work and
Yeah.
leans forward, and that makes me very proud. I think that's part of our success.
Yeah.
And but anyway, anybody that wants to join us for those book clubs, information on our website, santacruzshakespeare.org.
Sounds great. I think I might have
Yeah,
a look at
that's
that.
a
Wonderful.
what a
Please do. Please do.
idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. Yeah.
So, what flashes through my mind as you're speaking is, where do you think it originated, the attraction of story for people? Where did that come from that people enjoy stories so much?
Yeah.
Have you ever?
I have. I think we need it. You
Mm.
know, I think we need it to define our lives. I mean, I think, it's easy to have a nihilistic view of life. We're an organism that evolved with the most apt intellectual brain and the ability to change when necessary the most. And so we're a dominant force on this planet now. And we're probably destroying it, and we're certainly destroying each other. And if we didn't have greed, we almost certainly have enough resources to live in a post-scarcity society where everybody can have enough. But there is greed in the world, so some people have a lot and some people don't. And
Yeah.
you can look at all that and go, and then when you die, nothing happens. It all turns off.
Yeah.
So what's the point,
Yeah.
right? I think that's easy. And storytelling and art give us context and reason to live. Life has meaning when you give it meaning. And the stories we tell are how we give life meaning. We give life meaning through storytelling. We give each other meaning through storytelling. I think this is why in our evolution people sat around a fire telling stories in the first place. I think this is the source of a lot of religion, is people gathering and creating myths together, you know. And we need our myths. I'm not going to butcher the quote, but Nietzsche spoke of our myths being the sort of our horizon, the mountains of our horizon surrounding us. They give us shape and context. They give our worlds meaning, and we need storytelling to do that. And in all forms. And my chosen form, the form that has always given me the most passion, is the theater, and especially Shakespeare. And I, got very lucky to get to run this theater. But that's why I think we need it, because it's easy to look at this world and be depressed, because there's a lot of depressing things about it. And it's easy to be nihilistic. And it's easy, we all have to wonder what happens after we die,
Yeah.
and it's easy to get pretty grim about all that if you choose to. And I think stories are how we contextualize our lives
Yeah.
and give our lives meaning. And
Yeah.
so that's what I think they do. I mean, I think it's absolutely vital. And I think it's as necessary as medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely identify that's what comedians are about, isn't it? People go to watch comedians.
Right.
They're bringing out examples of maybe the symbol of life to themselves, and
Yeah.
how it can be laughed at.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I especially love comedians that make us laugh at the everyday. You
yeah,
know, that suddenly they bring up a scenario that you're like, well, you recognize yourself in it. And by
yeah,
recognizing yourself in it, you get to laugh at yourself, but also not at yourself, you know, and that widens your world. It
yeah.
widens your worldview.
True.
It stops being an ego. It's like, oh,
I'm
they've
not the only
created a
one.
context where I can laugh at myself
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
exactly.
take myself a little less seriously. And
Yeah,
I think that's really healthy.
yeah,
Yeah, it is. And I think it's the same with the stories, like the Shakespeare stories. It's like you go, oh, yeah, it enriches you. It's either
Totally.
really your story, and there's also other aspects that enrich you. So it's
Hmm.
really beautiful. Yeah.
Really, I think that's really well said. I think it does enrich us. I always want to be careful with language like this, just to make sure to remind and repeat that it is a thrilling, entertaining event to see a show of ours. Funny, wild, romantic, moving. I love these heavy terms about art because it inspires me and I'm passionate about it. But I never want it to feel hoity-toity. I never want it to feel like seeing a show of ours is coming, to a lecture or anything like that. It's a real event, but
yeah.
it does bring these great moving ideals forward, and I believe in them. And so, yeah, yeah.
Well, we're running out of time, sadly, but let's go through the program again coming up so that people are clear in their heads the month
Thank you.
they should be looking, etc.
Thank you. Yes. All of this information is at santacruzshakespeare.org.
Yeah,
In Coming up in February and April, we have our online book clubs, which are Much Ado and the Scottish play. Coming up very soon are in-school tours. So if you're an educator or a parent, check out our website, book our tour for your school. We also have, if you're also a parent, we have lots of camps coming up. The full program for our season is that come late April, early May, I'm doing Vincent, a one-man show at the Vets Memorial Building downtown. It is truly gorgeous and our first experiment with a spring show. Tickets for that go on sale January 9th.
right.
Our full summer rep is Much Ado About Nothing, Macbeth, and Fences by August Wilson. Those will go on sale to the general public May 1st, but if you're a member at some point, depending on your level of membership, you'll have access in either March or April. Our fall rep of two shows will be Private Lives, which I get to star in, and The Last 5 Years. And then come December, we return with A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
All of this is on santacruzshakespeare.org. And I just love this community. I love you too. This is wonderful to return and chat with you. And
Oh,
I hope we do it again. Let's do it again in a few months if you'd like.
Absolutely,
The
yeah.
amount of support in this community blows my mind. And so,
Yeah, absolutely right. So indeed, we
Yeah.
will have you back many times as
please.
as it all evolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for your vision and the work you do.
With my pleasure. My honor, truly, my honor. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye, Charles.
Yeah.
All right, thank you both.
Bye.
Bye.
If you haven't experienced a Santa Cruz Shakespeare production yet, consider this your invitation. Come be a part of it. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Go Ahead and Tell Me. If you loved this episode, please leave us a review, share it with your community, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a beat. If you missed any part of this show, just go to the replay. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Go Ahead and Tell Me. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.